Hey guys, I'm David DeMusio,
And I'm Steve Cook.
and this is Hair Loss Hope. And today I'm asking Steve, hair transplant, would you do it again? And more specifically, let's take you to today and pretend that you're starting from today, because that's where we're all starting from, right? And your hair loss looks like my hair loss did when I first met you. I want to know exactly what you would do and the steps that you would take right now. And also, just to give a little backstory on Steve, Steve had his first hair transplant and first couple of hair transplants actually back when hair transplants looked horrible. They looked horrific. There was literally no chance that you would have a good result in the long term. So this is back when Elton John got his first hair transplant. And so you know where Elton John turned out, he ended up wearing a hair system. And so Steve ended up wearing a hair system actually after your hair transplants, right?
That's
So
correct.
basically the same kind of step as Elton John. Steve is like Elton John, but he actually made it out the other side with actual hair instead of a wig or hair system. Though I think, yeah, Elton John's wig looks really good. So he's got the top people working on it. So you're like Elton John plus.
Without the platinum albums.
Yeah, no platinum albums, but yeah, but your natural hair looks much better than his does. So you got that. Good job, Steve.
Thank you.
So, all right. How many years did you use a hair system for?
After 5 hair transplant procedures,
Wow, 5. Oh my gosh.
I didn't like what I looked like because I had unrealistic expectations. I thought that my hair was going to be rock star, pompadour type hair.
Yeah.
And it kind of gave me back some hair that I had lost, but that wasn't enough for me. I was 23 years old. So I wore a hair system from age 23 to 30.
So you had 5 hair transplants by the age of 23 years old.
I had 3 hair transplant procedures and 2 scalp reductions by the age of 23.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Wow. Did we all just feel some pain for Steve? I did. Wow. And so then you wore a hair system for about 7 years.
And loved every minute of it.
Loved wearing a hair system.
Loved it.
Wow. What did you like about it?
It gave me everything. Back in the day, they had the late night infomercials on where you'd see the bald guy and you'd see them with hair. And they were pretty good at it. And I was young and didn't really understand how they did that. That's not what I got from my hair transplant. And I wanted that. And it was much less money. And they called it non-surgical or whatever they called it. And I was basically sign me up.
Mm.
And I loved it. I loved the look that it gave me, because that's where my unrealistic expectations were with a hair transplant. That could never be achieved in today's world with 10 hair transplants. But that's what I wanted. And that's what that system gave me.
So why or would you suggest to a young guy that comes in here that was in your situation to get a hair system instead of a hair transplant?
Well, you would want to look at a hair system for a couple reasons. Number one is, what if you just don't know if you are going to look good with hair? What if you just want to test the market, test the waters? What if you want to try to put your toe in the water without jumping into the pool? Well, a hair system can give you, if you're a bald guy, a hair system can give you the look that you probably want with hair, and it could be temporary. So it's actually kind of a way that you can kind of start off slow. I think that's a great idea for some people.
Yeah, I've actually always thought that if I was going to do it all over again, I probably would get a hair system briefly just to see how I looked with hair. Because at that point when I, got my first hair transplant, I'd been shaving my head for at least 5 years or so. So I almost didn't really know what I looked like with hair, or like what kind of hairline I would like or anything like that. So it definitely would have given me a better idea.
Yeah, I mean, our partner, our friend Tom Magliaro in Houston with TM Hair does a phenomenal job. And many times what'll happen is they don't really know, just like I didn't know, is this surgery, is this not surgery, what am I going to look like? And they will start off with non-surgical. The downside of the non-surgical, which we're probably going to talk about, is the maintenance and the fact that, when you take that off, depending on how they attach it to your head, you're still a bald guy.
Yeah.
So that's where it starts to get that yearning and that desire to have this growing out of your head. And they haven't figured out how to do that yet, but it's called a hair transplant to get it done in that capacity, in that way.
Mm-hmm. All right. So if you were like me starting today, what would you do? What are the steps?
The first thing I do is what everybody gets told to do and you know what I'm going to say, and that is if you're going to get a hair transplant, unless you got the thickest mane of hair in the back of your head like horsehair, you better get on that finasteride. So I think that the most important step is testing the waters with the finasteride or some preventative first and whatever you're comfortable with. David and I like to use the finasteride combined with the minoxidil in an oral pill, and we feel that that's delivered the best results. So think about it this way. You have to think based on the Hair Loss Hope and our videos, you have to think about the future as well. So if you're going to invest a lot of money in a hair transplant, is it worth it if maybe someday you're going to come off the finasteride? So A, you have to make sure your body acclimates to it and feels good on it. And there's a 99% chance it will. And then the second thing is that you can get a better return on your investment. Your hair transplant that you do eventually have will be a better result if you're using the finasteride. So that's the first thing I would do. And I would tell everybody that. I do tell everybody that.
And then what would you do as far as deciding on a hairline and kind of surgery you would get and everything like that, and why?
So if I had your hair loss, David, because we really don't know what mine was at the time, it was gone so young, I don't even remember. We're probably talking close to a Norwood 5. I mean, you carried it well, but you had a lot of hair loss at a young age. So I would say that every Norwood 5, 100% across the board, would go for it. The first procedure would be an FUT procedure. We would start in the front hairline, reframe that face, and work your way back and go as far as you can go. Planning on the average, I would say, would be about a third to a half of the scalp. That's it. You wait that year, you look and see if you like it. I'm sure you will if you choose the right doctor, right clinic, like we talk about. And then you plan on surgery number 2. Surgery number 2, we want to go into that second half of the head with an FUT because we're going to get that real good raw material in the center core. And we're going to take out that existing scar, so you're still going to have just one. And then we're going to kind of get into the crown, but we got to go back to that hairline because that's the better return on investment. So it's about maybe a 75% covering the rest of the surface area, kind of filling up that real estate. But the crowns are a little bit more tricky than the front half of the head. It's not going to appear as thick, so we don't want to put all of our investment dollars 100% into that. We want to go back to the hairline. So that's what I would do. 2 FUT procedures after being pretty solid on that finasteride for at least 6 to 8 months.
So first FUT procedure is after you've been on finasteride for 6 to 8 months FUT procedure.
Correct.
And is that pretty much what you tell all patients to come in? If they're not on finasteride, you tell them, hey, we want to get you on for 6 months minimum before we're going to do surgery on you.
Not all the time, but a lot of the time. Now, you were a Norwood 5. And you were very young. So that's why you would be told there's not going to be any motivation to do your surgery sooner than 6 to 8 months. But because you got a lot of hair loss, young man, at a very young age. And guess what? That's going to keep falling out and it's going to get worse. So you're a Norwood 5, you can go to a Norwood 6, a Norwood 7. That's what that finasteride is going to help you with, besides making that donor hair stronger for your procedure. There's other examples. Obviously, there's so many different examples that, young men, middle-aged men, old men, women come in and they've got super ropey, strong hair in the back of the head. They've got a minimal loss. As long as they're not, really young, 22, 23, 24, then they're pretty much good with the procedure. Now, they have a choice of either procedure, FUE or FUT, if they're using the finasteride. So 25 years old, strong donor hair, limited loss in front, not going to use finasteride, not a candidate for FUE. We would do the linear procedure, the FUT, because we have to plan on them continuing to lose hair. 35 years old, 45 years old, don't want to use the finasteride, limited loss in front. They're getting closer because this is where age helps you in hair loss to choose either procedure because we don't have to worry about them going bald over the next 10 to 15 years, although that is possible. So what you want to do and what we do is always look out for the patient. You want to look out for yourself. You want to kind of put those ducks in a row. What am I willing to do? Am I willing to do this long term? How much hair loss do I think I'm going to have? Nobody really knows that. So these are all the components to A, how to be successful in getting the best result, and B, how to avoid a catastrophe.
Well, I hope this answers you guys' questions. I feel like if you had to do it over again, you would definitely be winning the hair transplant game, Steve.
Don't forget about that non-surgical wig. Try it out.
All right. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm down here performing at Mahu Sinesta Beach Resort here in St. Martin, and I brought these right here with me. These were made by my friend Brian, who I went to Brazil with last summer, and these are his hair fibers. He did a ton of work trying to find the best formulation of hair fibers, and this is actually a video right here. This is real time, 27 seconds, including him putting it on, patting, combing, everything. 27 seconds. What these do for your hair. It's pretty incredible. So I brought these with me because I'm performing here, super bright lights. I want to feel my most confident from every single angle, no matter what lights are shining on me, and these do it for sure. My hair looks awesome when I use these. So I think this is one of the most underutilized things for guys with thinning or thin hair. You can use my code. My code is HOPE. So if you go to the link in the video description and use the code HOPE, you will get 25% off. That's my affiliate link. I'd love you to support Brian. Get something that you're definitely going to use and is going to improve your life. And yeah, HOPE 25% off. See ya.